Hey there YouTube, this is Wakeangel2K1 and this is my review of a very special custom figure. A figure that I paid someone else to customize. Although this might be stretching the definition of custom figure. Let me introduce you to Mechanauts, which is a creation of an artist and toy designer named David White. I found out about him from Vangelis, which, yes, I should say, is still the first toy review I ever saw, and still inspires me to this day. So, let's open up this little zip bag full of bits so we can talk about stuff. So that little baggie contained this very ordinary sheet of paper, which has some, some standard stuff talking about David White and about how his toys work, along with some concept art of one of his figures. And then you have a little bag of bits. There's some nice accessories in there. We'll get in that when we actually talk about the figure itself. This really cool sticker of Mechanaut Frostfire, one of his original characters. And of course, this little magazine, featuring a really nice picture of the latest in his Mechanauts franchise, the Mechanaut Explorer. And now these are 3D printed action figures, and this little magazine here has a whole bunch of details about how he makes them. He comes up with them himself from his concept, and every single piece of them is made in a 3D printer, where he uses an acetone vapor bath treatment to make the parts glossy and more durable, and then they are hand assembled into the final action figures. And for some reason, this book also has a little story and background for one of his characters named Brawler, which is, I think Brawler might be my favorite design figure that he made. Actually, we can go on to the next page right here, and you can basically see all the things in the Mechanaut franchise, from the evil villainous Predanauts, including Fang, Terror, spelled like pterodactyl, because, pterodactyl head, and Camantis, looks like a mantis, along with the heroic Mechanauts characters, including the original one that he made, the Mechanaut Soldier, and then everything else. Frostfire, Explorer, the Biologist, and B4L3R, which could be pronounced Baller. Well, of course, they renamed him Brawler after they gave him his upgrade. Yeah, so very, very cool things these are. Now, he also has previews of the stuff he's going to make in the future, like an improved version of Fang. Fang was one of the first figures that he ever made, so now he's going to make an improved version of it, which looks like it's going to have the ability to go down on all fours like an actual wolf. Very nice little werewolf thing going on there. Like, he can have a battle mode, and like his wolf form could be like for extra speed and stuff. That actually looks really nice. I don't know if I'll actually get it because, like I said, these are kind of expensive figures. But for certain adult collectors, that could be really nice. And of course, here is a very standard Mechanaut standing next to some other action figures so that he can provide size comparison. I'm pretty sure almost everyone's familiar with what a Black Series Stormtrooper is. So, yeah, he's about that height. Along with some other stuff like a Glyos figure, some Micronauts. His whole design aesthetic was inspired on 80s action figure lines. So you're going to see a lot of inspiration from like old He-Man and Transformers stuff, which is really cool. It's part of the thing that drew me to this line. Alright, so let's actually talk about Mechanaut Explorer himself. Okay, so now let's begin the proper review of the Mechanaut Explorer. But if you saw the little accessory baggie I showed you, you might have noticed something. These aren't really the same colors as what's pictured on the cover. Now you might think, oh, Wakeangel, did David White screw up and mess up your order? Are you gonna get a refund from him? Well, no, my friends. That's because I got a custom order. Because it turns out for an extra $10, he can actually print one of these guys out in whatever color scheme you wish. And I wished for Myton. That's right, I got the Mechanaut Explorer done up in a color scheme reminiscent of Maiton from Sonic Boom. Now, I did paint the little chest light and the belt buckle light myself, but everything else is in the native colors that David White sent me. Everything is printed in the proper color and given the acetone vapor bath treatment, which makes it look very smooth and pearlescent, and then hand assembled. Now, he has made the disclaimer that these are not meant for you to play with like their puzzles. You do not take them apart and put them back together again, as that can cause the joints to weaken, especially the ball joints that he uses. So, you know, like, just don't go treating this like it's made out of Legos. He includes this little Mechazone stand, which is a piece of 3D printed plastic that has not been given the acetone vapor treatment, so you can see exactly what it looks like as soon as it comes out of the machine. I don't know how well it's showing up on camera, but you can see that the color is duller and it has much more texture to it. It has like that little cross thatch lining that all 3D printed stuff tends to have. And although it is still visible in some parts here, it's actually much more difficult to make out the 3D printedness on this really cool glossy plastic. So, the figure came out exceptionally well. Gotta remember, it's completely scratch and hand assembled. The only minor flaws I can think of is that his left leg is a little bit farther from his hip than his right leg is, and likewise for this panel up here on his shoulder. But that doesn't compromise the figure's integrity, and it's fine. Yeah, so it, you know, like little imperfections like that give it a nice handcrafted feel. I know the feeling since I'm always making my custom toys. So let's talk about the Explorer itself before we get into anything too Sonic-y. Okay, first of all, the helmet has some articulation to it. You can open up these bits on his face to reveal the figure's mouth. This translucent green bit can be removed, revealing the full face of the Mechanaut Explorer, done up in a nice brass color to look like Maiton. And the eyes, David White did hand paint those eyes himself, and they look really nice. He put that little black border around. Very, very good. I specifically wanted the Explorer to be the one that he would make into Maiton because I noticed that the overall body shapes were pretty close. I mean, his are rectangular where a lot of Maiton's pieces are round, but it still looks pretty good. You got the brass detailings, the silver and the red. I mean, that's the cool thing about Sonic characters. They tend to have relatively simple color schemes, so applying his color scheme to the Explorer actually turned out to be a pretty simple task. When you see here, he has a Mechazone trademark. I like how the logo is his branding is kind of incorporated into the design. It's actually kind of cool. It's almost, I mean, I would almost have put that in his chest like the Autobot symbol, just, you know, without the trademark. But yeah, it's a really nice logo. I should do something like that for my custom toys. And then yeah, you go down. Like, the Explorer is just this really cool astronaut robot man looking thing. And there's just nothing wrong with that at all. Just the figure's design alone, it just looks cool. It's a cool looking toy. And I liked how it can do that. That's just fun. Alright, but aside from looking cool, this is a very well realized action figure. So let's talk about his articulation. He has a ball jointed head, which gets quite a bit of range upwards at least. He can look down a bit before his chin meets. And of course he can look left and right, tilt his head expressively, all very well and good. Whoa, I did not, that was, there, okay. I took care of the asymmetry of his hips, haha. That, I guess it just wasn't pushed in very far. I didn't try to force it. Anyway, he has swivels in his arms, go all the way around, and he can go outwards on another swivel. Yeah, just about to a T-pose. Almost. He has an elbow that gets about 90 degrees. And there is a bicep swivel. So, you know, that's a pretty a pretty well-made standard arm. There is a wrist joint, and the hands are designed to be swappable. Right now, his left hand is a holding thing hand, and his right hand is his open expressive hand. As you can see from the bits I have here, the other two hands. He came with both open expressive hands. I gave him one holding thing hand. I'm going to leave it like that for now, but you know, you have the options, and those hands can easily be swapped out. They are the only part of the toy that you're actively encouraged to take off and put back on. Although, you know, don't do it too much. I don't want anybody who spends a lot of money to just go swapping those hands around every 10 seconds until they wear out or break. He has a really good ball joint up here. Like, look at how far back his back can arch, and he can do a little bit of forward too. And then he has a waist joint down here. It doesn't go that far, but when you combine it with the one up in his chest, you actually get a pretty good human range. So yeah, really good torso articulation and decent waist articulation. And then his hips, they go forward. Actually, he can high kick. He can really kick high. And of course it goes outwards. Let's get that arm out of the way. Full on straight out. You can do the splits if you wanted him to. There is a thigh swivel right there. Look at that. And awesome double jointed knees. Get a huge range. And wondrous ball jointed ankles, which have a decent range in all directions. And the figure is actually really well balanced. I found out that he can actually do this the other day. Yep. Someday I'll get a real backdrop. Someday. Yeah, I like to think of this as like the idol waiting in the pod to emerge pose. Perfectly balanced. I haven't seen an action figure that can pull off this pose since Cherno Alpha from the Pacific Rim line. It's really, really cool. All right, let's get him. Let's start to show off his accessories. Okay, so the Mechanaut Explorer, and therefore my Maiton figure, comes with a sword, a bit. I call this the connector bit. He has this really nifty drill thing with another connector bit that has a handle on it. And the drill thing has these two articulated things down in the bottom. They can go out like this. I mean, I assume like you can give him both of his holding things hands, and then he would hold it like it's a jackhammer. There you go. The drill bit can also come out, and it can screw into various holes on his body. You can, it's a little bit tight in the chest, but you can put on his head for Gurren Lagann going through the dirt mode. Can you put it on? And yeah, you can put it into his leg, although there's not much point to it going there. That's just weird looking. So yeah, his sword, it very easily goes into his holding thing hand, and it is a good length. It's not like a super long sword, but it's not a short sword either. I call it maybe a bastard sword or something. Thanks to his great arm articulation, you can actually pull off some pretty good poses with it. All well and good, quite excellent. And you can even assemble it all into some kind of awesome lance type weapon. Hold on, let me get that set up because there's quite a bit of assembly required. And there is the lance weapon when you use all the weapon bits. I suppose you could also use this bit here. It's pretty much the same thing, except then you'd be able to hold it by this handle. I guess if you wanted to like be like a giant tonfa or something. But yeah, essentially that's pretty much the story. Yeah, it's a really cool accessory. I like the customizability of it, and it does look pretty darn impressive when he can hold it there. Especially when you combine it with the figure's fantastic articulation. You can just give this thing some really epic hero poses. it really just goes to show just how amazing 3D printed stuff can actually be. Because I know a lot of 3D printed stuff has a reputation for being fragile or fidgety, and like just being used to make decorative objects rather than something really toy-like. And yeah, this thing does feel like a toy. I mean, he says that it's not a super durable thing, and it's more for adult collectors. But you know, a lot of stuff is like that. Some of the more expensive Transformers are like that. A lot of the stuff that NECA puts out is like that. So yeah, I feel that this thing stands pretty decently alongside of most collector toy lines. It might not be quite up to the level of Mattel or Hasbro's like the DC superheroes or the Marvel Legends stuff that kids can just throw around all they want, but it's pretty good. It's good stuff. Alright, so like I said, this is supposed to be Maitan, so it is a Sonic figure as far as I'm concerned. So he's 6 inches tall. That means that no, this is absolutely not going to fit with my Sonic Boom collection. It's just not going to happen. Because Sonic Boom figures are 3 inches tall, Dr. Eggman is less than 4 inches tall, and if Maitan was to scale with them, he'd have to be 4 inches tall as well. So this is not going to be a Maitan for the Sonic Boom line. But does that mean that he's relegated to just being by himself? I don't think so. There's some stuff that Maitan might yet stand next to. Haha! So now my Maitan can actually stand next to my 6-inch scale Sonic figures, such as Jazzware's 5-inch Sonic, or maybe even my really old Toy Island Dr. Eggman. Yeah, that works. It's not Boom Eggman, and I don't know what he's doing with his leg, but yeah, check that out. Actually, just got punched in the face by Maitan. Okay, so yeah, David White's Mechazone figures are really awesome. If you really want to see the possibilities of 3D printing, I would totally recommend it. Like I said, it's kind of expensive, but if you want to get a custom color scheme, he can totally do it for you. And I would totally recommend checking out Mechazone.com. I'll put a link to his site below. Special shout out to Vangelis, who pointed out this amazing toy line to me. And one more thanks to David White for doing my Maitan color scheme, because that looks super awesome. This is Wakeangel2K1 signing off.